All right, we will now go to the NFL scores as there were quite a few interesting games today.
Yes. I think we're having some technical difficulties.
No, hopefully we'll have the scores
Hopefully
in a
we'll have the
second.
scores up in a second. Just to talk about some interesting games today, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Chicago Bears 23-17 in overtime. That was a good game.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it was. As you saw, overtime definitely has got to be a great game. And they just had, it was a nice low-scoring game. Surprising that the Seahawks beat them even with their two cornerbacks with a little bit of trouble there. I believe that they actually played this week, both appealing their suspensions, and it should be interesting.
Yeah. And the Seahawks, I mean, they're back in the playoff hunt. And if you look at Russell Wilson, who's also a rookie quarterback, if you look at his stats, 23 for 37, 293 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
That's decent. Against the Bears defense, that's great.
I know, especially against that Bears defense. Marshawn Lynch, 90 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. Not the best, but still pretty good for Marshawn Lynch. And the Bears, you know, they've kind of been struggling. They lose to Seattle at home, the Seahawks. That's just their second road win of the season. So how do you guys think the Seahawks fare for the rest of the season?
Sorry, guys, we have to cut you off because we do have the scores up and running right now. Let's take a look at them. The first game we have up, the Atlanta Falcons defeated the New Orleans Saints 23-13. That was a Thursday night football game. The Buffalo Bills beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-18.
Then Indianapolis beat Detroit 35-33 on a late Andrew Luck touchdown pass, showing his poise in that game. Seattle beat Chicago in overtime, as we just mentioned, 23-17, my bad.
The Green Bay Packers, who we just mentioned, lost to the New York Giants last week, beat the Minnesota Vikings 23-14. And the Kansas City Chiefs, after the tragedy that occurred yesterday, beat the Carolina Panthers 27-21.
New York beat Arizona in one of the lowest scoring games all season, 7-6. And San Francisco lost a thriller to St. Louis in OT.
The Houston Texans beat the Tennessee Titans 24-10, easily won by the Houston Texans. All right, we're going to take a short break, but stick around. We'll have more when we come back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to K Sports Sunday. We're going to jump right into the tragedy that happened yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium. Former Chiefs 25-year-old linebacker Javon Belcher killed his girlfriend and drove to Arrowhead Stadium, thanked general manager Scott Pioli and head coach Remy Cornell, and committed suicide. Chiefs fans everywhere are amiss and distressed. It is just a terrible tragedy. Carter, what do you think?
Well, it certainly is an awful experience, not only for the Kansas City Chiefs, for Belcher and for the organization, but also for the entire city of Kansas City, which, although they were greatly frustrated with the Chiefs this year, just rallies around this football team. And it's really their family of sorts. And the fact that this occurred in the parking lot of the stadium right before a game is truly tragic.
Yeah,
it really is.
I'm sure everyone in the NFL was really pulling for a Chiefs win, and they got one today, so that was good to see.
I'd also like to mention that Belcher and his girlfriend had a 3-month-old daughter. The daughter is currently in custody of Belcher's mother, who was up visiting Belcher because Belcher and his girlfriend were having relationship issues. It's just, it's really terrible. You hate to hear a thing like this. And, you know, it also makes me think, you know, because the teammates of the Chiefs described Belcher as a thankful guy. As you heard, he thanked his general manager and his coach before committing suicide. It really gets you wondering why. Why would this happen? It also gets me wondering, could it be the head injuries? Could it be steroids? All the messed up things in the NFL? How about the guys on back tuck? What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Dylan, about head injuries. You know, there were a lot of tests about people with multiple concussions, you know, might go into depression. But I want to talk. So the Chiefs, as Liam mentioned, played and won. They beat Carolina 27-21. Kansas City CEO Clark Hunt had offered the players, or met with the players last night about whether or not to play the game. They clearly did decide to play. Carter, do you think the Chiefs should have played today in the wake of the tragedy?
Well, from my standpoint, it doesn't look like playing today would have been the best idea. Although it is very hard, certainly, to reschedule games in the NFL, and although this, when you look at it, wouldn't have prevented a game from happening, I think that the fact that this occurred in the parking lot of Arrowhead Stadium, right before the game was to be played, I think that if the Kansas City Chiefs organization needed to recognize the magnitude of this tragedy and say that they shouldn't have played this game. And I know that the fact that the Chiefs got their first home win of the season against the Panthers today, and I'm sure that it was a great rallying moment for the team of the city.
And Carter,
I'd
like to mention that it actually was the day before the game that
Yes.
This happened.
Yeah, the Chiefs recognized Belcher's death with a moment of silence for domestic violence.
It was just very touching, very sad moments. It's like, and it was very awkward, I think, because, I hate to say
It
this,
was clearly what they were meaning was Belcher's death, but
Belcher's death, but, I hate to say it, but in LNN, I don't know why he did this, but in the end, he is the bad guy. And you don't really want to say, a moment of silence for the bad guy. So I think they did the appropriate thing by doing it for all domestic violence everywhere. What do you think, Carter?
Yeah, and that was certainly a touching moment before the game. The fact that they honored what happened and how it's not only a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs and this one player, but with people all across the country and around the world. This issue with domestic violence, and hopefully, in the wake of this tragedy, the Chiefs and the NFL can do something about it.
Yeah, TK, what do you think?
I just think it's absolutely terrible to hear something like this. I don't really know how to put it into words, really. It's just plain old awful. What do you think?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's pretty depressing. I mean, he kills his girlfriend, which is obviously a terrible case of domestic violence, and then he shoots himself. And then they still play the game.
Yeah.
And they still play the game. It's like there was a tragedy in the town. Like, I don't know how the team could even have put into emotion to be able to play a game. I think they should have been able to found a way to reschedule it. I mean,
Why?
I mean, because it's like terribly depressing. The guy just shot himself.
There's a chance
He's a teammate.
for the city to rally
But
around.
a teammate shot himself, and it's like makes the teams lose their. And my team, they have emotion. There could have been some emotional problems. I don't know why they played. I really don't understand.
Well,
But they did win.
Right, but
who knows
They
that?
talked about it last night about whether to play, and I think the players wanted to they wanted to get a win. They wanted to honor Belcher
Honor his memory,
by doing honor his memory, and I think especially since it was a home game where they were able to get a win, their first home win, as Dylan had mentioned. I think it's good. It is unfortunate, but it also shows that even right after something happens, you do have to move on. There still was a game to play, and it is very hard to
There was still a job to do.
reschedule.
Yeah, it was,
Right.
I mean, they did move on from it, but I still think the game
Right.
shouldn't have been played.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it honor Belcher more? Wouldn't they be recognizing the magnitude of the tragedy more, not by playing the game and having a moment of silence, although that was great, but by canceling the game altogether, by saying that this tragedy is so great and we are so saddened by what has occurred that we are willing to put a stop to an NFL football game. And I think that if they had done that, it would have showed how much they really cared about it. Not that they didn't care about it, but I think that it would have definitely showed had the game been called off.
All right, thank you guys, and thank you, Carter. I hate to leave you on a sad note, but now we are going to have to say goodbye to you. Thanks for coming by.
For real this time.
All right, now jumping on to a lighter note. I believe you have some winter meetings to talk about.
Yes, the MLB winter meetings are coming up this week. They will start December 3rd, Monday, and go until December 6th. It is the time every year in which baseball has the biggest trade rumors, the biggest free agent rumors, and generally it's a fun time to cover the hot stove.
Yep, what do you guys think?
There, we're sending over to back talk.
All right, thanks. So winter meetings, as Liam mentioned, December 3rd through 6th. So we have some free agents who could be signed. You have R.A. Dickey from the Mets, Josh Hamilton, Zach Greinke, Shin-Soo Choo, and Asdrubal Cabrera, as well as others. So what do you guys think? Out of those names, who do you think is going to go to a different team?
I see Josh Hamilton signing possibly with the Phillies because they're looking for some outfield depth and they need some power. So I see that he's probably going to someone's going to make a big splash for him. He's a top-notch free agent outfield. The team might be looking for someone like that. What do you think?
I agree with you, Barry. Josh Hamilton, he's going to leave Texas because of the way things ended in Texas, kind of bitter. So
Pressing.
I think he's going to go for a different team altogether. Might not be the Phillies. It might be the Phillies. We'll just wait and see.
Actually, I heard a lot of rumors that the Red Sox, they need some outfield help. And I know all of us Boston fans.
Manny! No.
No.
The Red Sox do need some help in the outfield. How would it change the whole Red Sox perspective if Hamilton got on the team?
Well, Hamilton is a power hitter, and
So Red Sox
Yeah.
right, with Fenway Park being one of the shortest parks in the MLB, so he had
Very
43.
hitter-friendly.
Right, he had 43 home runs in Texas, which is pretty deep ballpark. He'd still be in the AL, so he'd still be facing pretty much the same pitchers. And Mike Sullivan said, if Josh Hamilton comes, would he be involved with any beer or fried chicken?
Josh
incident,
Beckett is
maybe that
gone.
we've
We don't have to worry about that ever again, okay? That is over.
Tom,
There's still
John
David
Lackey.
Well, we
Keys.
certainly hope so.
John
but there still
Lackey.
is
John Lackey.
And John Lester.
And John Lester, they're still
here.
there. I mean, we
Along
always
with Clay
forget about them,
Buchholz.
but they still exist. And Clay Buchholz, we always forget about him too.
Well,
Josh
guys, I don't think naming names really helps. I'm pretty sure it was mostly the entire clubhouse. I don't
Right.
think.
Hey,
I think
Kentucky
they only
Fried
mentioned
Chicken's
those
good, man.
players Because those are some
I didn't
very
see. I didn't see
Well,
John
no, it was
Bonnie
pretty
chicken.
much the starting pitching staff.
It was
That's
pretty
what
much
came out.
them, but I think it was more than just those guys.
Very well could have been. Now, something else you have to look at when you look at the winter meetings. Cody Ross apparently is still most interested in joining the Red Sox. If he does join, that completely eliminates the Hamilton thing, and if Hamilton decides to go with the Red Sox, it eliminates the Ross thing. Who would you rather have?
Well, obviously, I don't think I don't want to say this is a no-brainer, but I think I'd rather have Hamilton. And I disagree, though. I think if that Ross is signed, I don't think
I would rather have Cody Ross.
really.
Hamilton's gonna get in so much trouble with the
Trouble?
Red Sox. I think there's more. It's way more likely that he's going to have an issue with beer, alcohol, all of his issues that he's had relapses with in the past.
Right.
In Boston, a place where, well, the clubhouse isn't exactly
Right.
stable all the time. So there could be a lot of issues. I think you bring Ross back, he's more of a clubhouse guy than Hamilton is, and I think it helps the team out better.
Well, that's
actually,
a good point. It depends on what the ownership wants. Do you want a younger guy who you can develop, a clubhouse guy like so goes Cody Ross, or do you want a big star, so goes Josh Hamilton, to bring maybe more publicity? And I think would certainly help the team more. But you have to. It's a good point, Liam, about whether or not they should bring in, they should keep a younger guy and help the clubhouse, which is really what they have struggled with.
They're really looking at either are they rebuilding for the next few years or are they going for the ring? Because, at clearing out Beckett, Crawford, Gonzalez, that huge trade with the Dodgers earlier this year, that was pretty much clearing out house, getting rid of a lot of cap space. It's all a question now. Do they try to get young prospects now, like Cody Ross or like some guys in the minor leagues? Or do they try to get the star and go for the ring?
The Red Sox have said they are not planning to make any big signings, but for the
You
Red
never know.
Sox, it seems like for it not to be a big signing, they have to sign about,
Right.
4 or 5 people at the
Right.
same time to
That's
call it a big signing, so it should be interesting.
That's